Travel back to childhood as we go on an outdoors adventure. This is our review of Summer Camp.
Summer Camp is a deck building, race to the finish game where players try to collect the camp badges worth the most points. And I've never been to Summer Camp, but this game kind of let me experience it secondhand.
Summer Camp has a lot of fun elements, however it won't be receiving the most fun badge from me. I'll tell you why after this quick how to play. Each player starts off the game with one hiker on 3 different trails. Each trail represents one badge that players will be going after.
Each player will also have a starting deck that they will use to move their hiker along the trails, or they can trade in cards to gain new cards to build their deck.
Players will earn badges along their way as they make their way along the trail, but they won't get the main badge until they reach the end of the trail.
The first player that gets to the end of each trail gets the higher scoring badge.
Once one player gets all 3 of their hikers to the end of their trails, the game ends. Then the players add up all their points, and the player with the most points wins. I just randomly came across Summer Camp when I was walking through Target one day. The box art caught my eye. I like Summer Camp. I like the idea of the badges. Kind of reminded me of the cover for Parks. I kind of wanted to explore and see what it was. Saw the back, saw it was deck building, saw that you were earning badges for doing different achievements. I was like, oh, looks interesting. Let's check it out.
Yeah, probably around that time I saw it too, and I just kind of thought, this reminds me of like Survivor or Legends of the Hidden Temple, where there are teams competing in these activities for badges or points. I kind of got the vibe from this, so my expectations were set pretty high.
When you unbox it, you'll see that there are multiple boards and you can arrange them in different patterns to create the trails. You put your hikers on each of the 3 trails and then you're playing cards to move your hikers along the trail. So it's your basic deck building. You're building your deck to take different actions that allow you to move further along each trail, move multiple trails. Plus some of the trails have different bonuses as you get there. So there are a couple of mechanics going on, and overall it was kind of fun, but it just wasn't like super fun. So I was kind of disappointed with it after we played it the first time.
Yeah, I agree. One of the mechanics of deck building, right, is like you have your starting hand and then you can either choose to add cards to it, but you have to be careful because if it doesn't help you later on, or maybe you don't see it that much, then why even get it, right? However, if you do get so many cards, you're just kind of like, okay, draw, play, reset, draw, play. So it can get kind of just circular where you're like, okay, well, all right, just going through the motions.
This game can get kind of repetitive. As Lee said, you can go through the motions because you have all the cards in your hand, and really the only important ones that you really need are the ones that let you move further along the trail. So you really want those cards that can give you move 2 ahead, move 3 ahead, and those cost more. So you're building up your deck and then you're spending your deck to get those cards, but because you have so many cards, you have to then cycle through those cards to get to the good cards. So it can get a little bit repetitive towards the end. This game just wasn't as fun as some other deck builders that we've had. I like the concept, I just didn't like the execution as much.
One component of the game that changes things up is the modular game board. So each square of the trail kind of has their own different icons, and you can lay it down, plan, and then see, okay, well that moves there, so I can chain it to do that in another trail. So that kind of helps a little bit and lets you think strategically, but for the most part, it still has that feel of like, okay, draw cards, play cards, draw cards, play cards, and then just move along as quickly as you can.
One thing I do like, and it's what kind of caught my attention while I was at the store, are the different badges that you can earn. So you have the friendship badge, you have the water sport badge, you have the arts and craft badge, you have the cooking, the outdoors, the games, and then the adventure badges. So it is kind of like you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, depending, and you're earning your badges, you're doing different things. However, all the cards are very similar. Some of the decks do different things and will give you different abilities, but they're all very similar, and half of each deck is basically move 2 forward on the trail, move 3 forward on the trail, something like that, because you always have to be moving forward on the trail. So they're not different enough to justify having the different decks. It's not something, I'm sure they'll come out with expansions where you can get more badges and things, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to try the different badges and see what they come up with next. It doesn't really inspire me to want to try more because they all felt very similar. So once I played one game with 3 badges, it didn't really make me want to go, oh, let's try the other badges and see how those go. The game is a 2 to 4 player game for ages 10 and up. I think kids might enjoy it because it's not super complicated. So if you have kids in Boy Scouts or kids in Girl Scouts or just kids that like camping in general, they may find it exciting and fun while they're young. I just don't think it's something that board gamers are going to be really hardcore about.
Or kids that have never gone camping. Be all right.
And then they'll be like, well, why would I ever want to go camping? It's so boring.
Not missing out on anything. Overall, I like the artwork, I like the colors, I like all the components that are in here. I'm gonna add some new thing and say, I didn't really like the tease factor. This game had a lot of tease factor that just really raised my expectations. But that could just be me. I'd probably give it a 4.
Overall, I really like the theming of this game is what caught my attention. I like the badges, they're kind of fun. They are little badges, you're trying to collect them. It is fun to think of the collecting them and, ooh, I have the most badges with the most points. However, how you actually get there with the deck building and then the moving the player along the board, kind of boring, kind of generic. So I was kind of let down overall. So I think in the end, I'm gonna give this game a 4. And that was our review of Summer Camp.
What'd you think? Is it kind of like summer camp? Should we just go camping and film it? Is that something you'd watch? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you like an outdoor game that we liked a lot better, check out our review of Parks in the description below.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.